already have well, I wouldn't say association with the National Portrait Gallery, but I have pictures in their collection, and I had an exhibition there in 2006, 2007 called Exceptional Youth, about young Great Britons who were kind of at the top of their game, even at a very young age in whatever was their chosen field. If I'm taking a portrait of somebody, I want to be able to see as much of that person at a glance as is possible without resorting to devices. I mean, I shoot on film. Everything I take happens in camera in front of me, so I can look at this picture at the end of the day and say that's how it was, that really is how it was. There's been no manipulation or enhancement or, I don't know, retouching. It's how it is. It's about finding places where people themselves find space. It doesn't actually have to be, geographical space, but it can be just somewhere where they find a little headspace, a little bit of quiet or a bit of peace, or somewhere that they find very stimulating. So that's very much comes from talking to each subject and seeing how they respond. There's tremendous thinking involved, and that's kind of not the handle, but I guess that's what I am trying to illustrate in what I'm doing is thought, is the thinking behind the games, as opposed to the performance. I want to treat each person absolutely as the individual they are and honour that. Chris Holmes, who is one of the leaders of the Paralympic incentive, who is a Paralympic swimming champion himself, he was blind from the age of 14. So his world has to be informed by sound and touch. It's sensory. And it was very interesting for me because I realised that so much of what I talk about, how I describe things, relies on vision, which of course he didn't have. It's when I was convincing him to be photographed in water, and I was trying to explain how the picture would look, but I was thinking, well, he will never see this, so how can I give him a sense of what I'm trying to achieve? So that was very interesting for me, and in fact that was how I then started to approach his photograph, was through sense rather than through visual. I wanted him to be in an environment that was sensory, and it's quite hard to photograph that. I mean, ideally he'd have been in a river or a lake or somewhere, but obviously at this time of year in England that would have been horrible. So I just found an indoor pool in London. Some very, very kind friends allowed me to shoot in their pool, and he was warm and comfortable, and he was amazing to photograph. He was so helpful. He so understood what I was trying to achieve for his picture, and he really went with it and never once said, I'm bored or I'm cold or can I get out of the water now? And in between shots, while I was changing film, he would just swim around or move in the water, and I felt he really was in the right place for his portraits. I'm raising my 3 kids, who are a bit older now. They have been really important in informing my work, because that's how I started as a photographer, was photographing my kids. And what I loved about them was their complete ability to let go, to be fully themselves in front of the camera. They didn't care about the camera. They didn't even know most of the time I was taking a picture. And that is something that I try to find, even when I'm photographing adults. Of course, we're all very aware and very self-conscious, which is normal. But trying to find little moments where people just let go is very valuable, I think.